Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick video. All right, y'all, just back with some real quick boxing talk here. As y'all know, Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, he'd actually posted up his list of fights he wanted to see in boxing on the PBC Facebook page. And it just caught my eye because it just really lets you know that, not just, your everyday, your everyday 9-to-5 workers or your hardcore fans of boxing, they're not the only ones that want to see the best fights. I mean, even NBA players, they can be hardcore fans of boxing too, but it's just letting you know that somebody on his level is putting his list out there. So that should really start to catch like everybody's eyes in the world of boxing. It should catch the promoters' eyes. It should catch, everybody from Bob Arum to Al Heyman to Eddie Hearn's eyes that, look, guys like Damian Lillard and other guys on other basketball teams want to see the best fight the best. You know why? Because these guys like Damian Lillard, they come from that world where the best play the best. There's a playoffs where it's all set up, where the East versus the West play each other. Then it finally comes down to those two final teams playing each other in the NBA Finals to decide who the best is for that year. So the same can be said for how it should be set up for boxing. You can't have this many champions running around in one division. Eventually, these guys have to unify to decide who the best is, who's that undisputed champion. So for Damian Lillard, he's playing it out in like our minds, just like your average basketball fan or your NFL fan. They want to see the best play, the best compete against the best. So when he sees these boxers like Errol Spence in the same division as Terrence Crawford, he's already automatically saying, these guys need to fight. He's not saying, Terrence Crawford needs to fight Mean Machine, or, Errol Spence needs to fight, his mandatory. He's not saying that. He's already matching it up because both of these guys are on their opposite sides of the street, and they're collecting belts and they're beating everybody. So eventually they need to fight. So that's how he sees it too. That's why he's matching up these guys, as y'all can see in his list of 8 fights. So real quick, I just want to go down the list of 8 fights because I just want to let you know, hey, look, I can agree with all of these fights, just about. These are all the matches that I play out in my head, and it's letting you know that even a guy on his level that's famous is playing it out in his head the same way. He's looking at these divisions and saying, this is the best guy, this is one of the best guys, so they need to fight to prove who really is the best in their division. First fight, Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. This is a fight we've been asking for at 168. Whenever David Benavidez had his WBC belt, we wanted to see him fight the IBF champion. They were at 168 before Canelo. Caleb Plant, solid boxer, solid jab. David Benavidez, very good power puncher, dangerous fight for it. Caleb Plant, and the same can be said for Benavidez. So that's a fight that needed to happen. It still needs to happen. Both undefeated. And I feel like that'd be a fight that really get us closer to see who is the best boxer at 168. Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. This fight I talked about a couple months ago after Ryan Garcia beat Luke Campbell. After he beat Luke Campbell, he said he wanted to fight Davis, but he went off on he just went straight left field and said he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao, and now that whole fight's a bust, but it's still a fight that needs to happen because we need to decide who the best at 135 is. Between these two, Lopez and Haney, they all need to mix it up because we need to know who the best at 135 is. Manny Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia. Not really the best fighting the best right now because Manny has no belt. Mikey Garcia, he's not really the best welterweight. He couldn't even win a round against Errol Spence, but it's still a good matchup. He knows on that level of entertainment that it's still a good matchup. Manny Pacquiao is one of the best fighters in the world versus Mikey Garcia, who brings he brings an exciting style to the table. He is a multi-division world champion, so style-wise and just size-wise, it looks like a good fight. Spence Crawford, need I say more? Need I say more? These are the two best guys at welterweight, so they need to mix it up. It's enough said. Jamel Charlo versus Julian Williams. That's not really a fight that I really wanted to see, as far as right now. When J-Rock had the belts, yes. When J-Rock had the belts, but since Jason Rosario beat J-Rock and, Charlo beat Jason Rosario, that fight kind of just turned me off now, unless J-Rock does something like, beats Jason Rosario in a rematch, or comes back and beats Jared Hurd once again in a rematch, then that might make a Jamel Charlo fight interesting. Canelo versus Jamal Charlo. That's the fight everybody wants to see at either 160 or 168. I've been wanting to see that fight at 160 though, like 2 or 3 years ago now. I remember my Jab podcast when I did like we did like a middleweight tournament between, you know, these two, Triple G, Andrade, Sergey Derevchenko, Daniel Jacobs. We included all these guys. We said Canelo and Jamal Charlo's a fight needs to happen. Match-wise, this would be the best fight, the best. You know, WBC champion Jamal Charlo versus Canelo. I feel like that would be a good style matchup, toe-to-toe. Canelo has good boxing skill. Jamal Charlo is a big, physically strong middleweight. Why not? You know, why not make it happen? Sean Porter versus Keith Thurman too. Not really a fight on the radar that I asked for, but definitely makes sense. You know, that's a fight that would make sense while Sean Porter waits to see what Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford does. You know, he could go back in there against Keith Thurman because, you know, Keith Thurman needs a fight. You know, neither of these guys have belts right now, so that rematch would be interesting, and it could see if it could put them back into a, you know, the mix for a title shot. And last but not least, Jaron Boots Ennis versus Dennis Ugas. That's a fight that I mentioned a while back. But right now, since Ugas has a belt, Spence versus Ugas would make more sense. But this fight here would be good because Ennis needs a good test. You know, he's been slowly climbing the ladders, and you know, he's been beating guys on his level. He wants to step up each time. But this would make sense because it would be a good fight where he wins his first world title now. If he did get this fight, you know, this would be a good test, at the same time a championship fight for him, because Ugas, he's battle tested. He's fought some good guys, and you know, that would just be a good fight for Ennis to really put himself on the map. So yeah, Damian Lillard, he has a good list here, man. Definitely a good list of good matchups. Like I said, the majority of these fights I want to see, and I know all y'all want to see. But the only fights like Jermell Charlo versus Julian Williams, and like I said, Sean Porter versus Keith Thurman too. Those are fights that I didn't really think of at this point. But that rematch between Porter Thurman would be interesting. I would watch it. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. Like I said, I just kind of want to fill y'all in on his list here and to kind of give you my thoughts. And just got to let you know, yeah, man, the best got to fight the best in boxing. I know y'all feel the same. Let me know in the comment section if y'all feel the same. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.